Help me, please. Oh, thank you, my friend. I haven't got much time. You must find the boy. Find the boy and give him back his ring. He will know what needs to be done. Now listen to me. We had to do it. He did unspeakable things to us. We had no choice but to do as he said. And there are so few of us left, but the work is almost finished. And then the evil, you can't imagine. He's coming back to destroy everything and everyone. Now, please, just find the boy. Tell him that I escaped. I came back to warn. He will know what to do. You, my friend, it's all up to you.
I can't believe it. I mean, you and then the Zeppelin and the fire. And the altar says that... Do you have any idea what all of this means?
You have returned. Tell me, what news? For the sake of the gods, out with it, man! If you would, I know I've already asked much of you, but an old man needs to put his mind at... Go to the docks at Ashbury. You can find it on your map. Ask around for Edward Teach, a crusty old salt. He is in command of one of the boats that I use for special jobs. I trust him implicitly. There are rumors of a somewhat less than virtuous career on the high seas, but he's a good man should a difficult situation arise. I'll wire ahead to tell Teach to expect you. Chukka here is quite beneficial to have around for protection. If If you're interested, you might be able to persuade him to accompany you on your journey.
Greetings, traveler. It seems to me that you're looking for answers. Perhaps it is time that I answered them for you. Don't you know? Are you not the reincarnation of Nasruddin? Has it been so long that you don't recognize your old nemesis? Or perhaps you're not the living one after all, merely a puppet playing his role. So, you remember me, do you, Nasruddin? Do you remember what I did to your pathetic elven council? Do you remember when all of Arcanum shook before my power? Be warned, they will do so again. I have come to bring you a message. The message is this. Whether you are the living one or not, whether or not the coward Nasruddin hides in your bones or still rots in his grave, the inevitable will still come to pass. I am returning. It has already been set in motion, and there's nothing you can do about it. I am returning, and all will fall before me. Everyone you know, everyone you love. You see my power? Do you yet understand? Perhaps I need to be more clear. No one is safe, traveler. No one. Not even you. Remember what I have shown you here. Remember and tell the world. Aronax is returning to Arcanum, and nothing will ever be the same. Farewell.
What do you want of me? I did not choose to live on this island for its ambience. I chose it so I wouldn't have to entertain fools. Leave me be. That is quite the fool's journey just to find someone's dead body. I'm afraid to ask, but whose grave would you be looking for? Of course. Searching for the great Nasruddin. Ha! The great Nasruddin. What was so great about him? Damned fool, if you ask me.
What? How dare you, old man? Do you have any idea who you're talking about? Nasruddin was the wisest and most benevolent elf in the history of Arcanum. He saved us all, and that includes you. So I recommend you keep your comments to yourself.
Oh? And you think you know about Nasruddin, young man? Who are you to tell me about that old worthless elf?
Worthless? Why, I ought to... No, I'm not going to sink to your level, old man. Nasruddin would have had more patience with men of your kind, and so will I. don't have to defend him.
Oh, of course you don't have to defend him, young man. The old elf was completely incorrigible. There's no defense whatsoever for individuals of such low character as he. You've chosen well not to waste your words on the likes of Nasruddin.
You're testing my patience, old man. Another bad word about Nasruddin, and it might just be the last one you say on both feet. Do we understand one another?
Virgil, perhaps you ought to keep your voice down with our new friend here.
Ah, now there's the voice of reason. And from such a beautiful young elf. You know, in my younger days, I knew a girl who looked a lot like you. She had the most wonderful name. Let me see, what was it? I suppose it would translate to something like the Silver One.
Yes, I also know someone like that. She used to tell me about a great man she once knew. She told me that he taught her a great many things. That he was much like her own father.
Ah, yes. Make sure to pass on my greetings to your mother. She was such a wonderful child. And it seems she has a wonderful daughter as well. Greetings, Princess Raven.
I will pass on your greetings to her. It will make her very happy to know you are here among us. Greetings, Nasruddin.
I would say in all my glory, but I'm afraid I haven't any left. No. I delivered the world to Aranax. I put in place the system that he felt was his for the taking. I even imparted my elven arrogance to him. I must bear full responsibility for his action. You do not understand. He was my son. I taught him everything. Only to see him be carried away by his youthful temper. I should have seen it. There must have been a way to stop him before it came to what it did. It started in the Age of Legends. I was young, headstrong. I thought I could take on the world, and I did. I fought the good fight to protect the lesser races, as I arrogantly called them, from the chaos that raged everywhere. Dragons, demons, evil sorcerers, I fought them all and won. And this, all before even the days of the Elven Council. I gathered a group of idealistic mages together, and we created an Elven Council, for the good of all. We really believed that. For a time, I suppose it was even true. I really believe things began to change when we discovered a way to banish things from this plane of existence. It was the ultimate weapon. Once something was banished from this plane of existence, it could never return. With ultimate power comes ultimate responsibility, and ultimate corruption. We were quick to use it on new and ever more terrible threats. The Bane of Kree, Krakatur, Gorgoth, Kerghan. Sometime during all this heroic carnage, my son came of age. I quickly ushered him into the council, amidst some of the others' protest about his young age and inexperience. And then it all came crashing down upon me. Look, are you certain you really want to hear all this self-pitying drivel? He had taken it upon himself to keep the balance, as he termed it. He believed that being a member of the Council validated any course of action he chose to pursue. This meant attacking anything he saw as a threat, such as a city that had begun building advanced technological devices. Vendigroth, it was called. He warned them to cease their destructive behavior, and destroyed one of their factories to underscore his point. Justifiably afraid for their very lives, they swiftly constructed a device that could destroy even the most powerful wizard. He responded by calling on forces that few of us had ever seen, and wiping not just the city, but the whole province of Vendigroth from the face of Arcanum with one blow. He felt himself betrayed when the Council condemned his actions. He showed no remorse. In his arrogance, he was sure he would be vindicated. I cast the deciding vote to banish my own son. If I must die, I will be the last, he screamed as he hurled the spell that brought an end to the Council, the Age of Legends, and my will to live. It was a harsh dawn that morning on the plains of Brodgar, and it was there in the shadow of the Black Spire that our armies met in the most terrible battle that Arcanum has ever seen. As the sun set, only 4 of us were still alive to witness the destruction we had brought to pass. I found Aranax among the corpses of our decimated armies, and it was there that I condemned my own son to the void. Only through our combined might that Aranax was subdued, and I watched my own son fall into the horror of the void. But such was the fury and power unleashed by this conflict that the very fabric of reality was torn asunder. With our remaining energy, we were able to seal the rift with powerful wards, and the Ring of Brodgar still stands today as a monument to my son's destructive pride and my own unforgivable failure. When I regained consciousness, I was on the shore of Thanatos. I'd regained just enough energy to seal myself in a regenerative shell. I remained that way for 1,000 years. No one had ever stayed in a shell for anywhere near that amount of time. Somehow, my magical hibernation extended my life much beyond that of even the most powerful elven mages. The world out there is not mine. It only serves to remind me of my failure. Everyone I knew, everything I held dear is gone. I myself should have died long ago. Besides, I do not fancy being worshipped as a god. I pity you, then. I received a taste of their hero worship from Mannix, and I can tell you I didn't like the taste of it one bit.
Hold on there! Do you two realize exactly what you're talking about here? Perhaps this is an interesting philosophical debate for you two, but we're talking about the foundations of the Panari religion here. I mean, if you're not dead, that means you're not his reincarnation. Where the bloody hell does that leave the rest of us? Are any of the prophecies true? Have all of us Panari just been running around half-cocked for the last 2,000 years?
Easy, young Virgil. I know how all of this must make you feel, and I apologize for making light of your beliefs. Unfortunately, I don't have the answers you're seeking.
I mean no disrespect, Nasruddin, but if you don't have any idea as to what's going on here, then you'll forgive me if I'm having a few doubts concerning the validity of my newfound religion.
Good, Virgil. If there is one thing in life that one must learn, it is to question everything. In the end, I'm sure you will have the answers that you seek. And whether or not this is all the fulfillment of a prophecy, or just random chance, does it change the gravity of our situation? Would you do anything differently if you knew one way or the other?
No, I wouldn't. And I will see this until the end, regardless of the reasons behind it. Thank you, Nasruddin. At the very least, your wisdom warrants a religious movement, even if its followers tend to be a bit soft in the head.
I feel as if I've been waiting to hear those words since I awoke those many years ago. I had hoped it would never come to this. Why, Aranax? Why can't you see the folly of the path you've chosen? What are you going to do about this situation? I fear there is nothing I can do. I am old, tired. I do not believe I could stand up against my son now, even if I could find the heart to try. We do not know what life in the void is like, if it can be even called life. Who knows what sources of power could be found on the other side? I can think of only one possible strategy to defeat him now. You must retrieve the Vendigroth device that was meant to destroy him. And so it was, above ground. There are many catacombs and tunnels lying beneath the surface. Some of the members attempted to retrieve it to use against Aranax, but they never returned. We were forced to battle him without it, and you know the consequence of that. Extremely powerful mages have the ability to regenerate themselves whenever they are badly hurt, as I did. If one is powerful enough to hurt a master sorcerer gravely, the mage will retreat into his regenerative shell and emerge stronger than ever. The device is the only way known to disrupt the regenerating shield. Quite so. The technology of the device is designed to disrupt the field in such a way as to cause the shell to drain the life force instead of regenerating it. Quite gruesome to contemplate, actually. Further, it is said that one who is killed in this manner is forever separated from this world, with no chance of being returned magically or otherwise. You must search the ruins of Vendigroth in the wastes where the city once lay. I do not know exactly. Those days are long past, and with them a better part of my memory, I'm afraid. All I know is that at one point Vendigroth and its settlements spread out over that whole area now known as the Wastes. There was a bridge leading into the Vendigroth province. Here. Are you prepared to face Aranax? Then it is time. May your gods accompany you to the other side and help you to stop Aranax.
Yes? What is it? Your presumption is correct. And who might I have the pleasure of addressing? Well, what brings you to my corner of oblivion? That is a feeling I have much familiarity with. Sometimes I feel that my fate was decreed from an early age. Do not misunderstand me. I take full responsibility for my actions. Though, how are one's actions determined, really? How is our view of the world shaped? Mine was shaped by arguably the most powerful individual in the world, my father. He raised me on tales of the righteous superiority of the elves and the destiny that brought us to rule over all the races. What did he expect? He shoved a young, immature, and inexperienced fool into a position of immense power and set me loose on the world. Why didn't he stop me? He should have stopped me. Most certainly. I have had 2,000 years of my grievous errors and judgment replaying themselves in my mind. One tends to grow a bit of a conscience in all that time. I did no such thing. I've been here for ages. Do you really think I could reach across the void to torment you? You fool! You think this is my protection? This is my prison! I've been trapped inside this shell for nearly 2,000 years. I assure you, it is not a light-hearted jest, though I wish that it were. I have been trapped here since soon after I was banished to this realm. This is Kerghan's doing. When I first came here and realized what he was becoming, I attempted to stop him. Our battle was intense, yet brief. As you can see, I was not the victor. One and the same. It looked as if I was correct as to the effects of his experimentation. His dark magics have transformed him hideously, in body and spirit. Being that I am trapped in here, my opportunities to get information are, shall we say, a bit limited. On the rare occasion Kerghan has deigned to visit me to play his intellectual games, he has dropped some veiled clues that might make sense in light of what you've told me. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say Kerghan is impersonating me. It sounds as if these dark elves you mentioned have patterned themselves after the misguided philosophy of my youth. They are proving to be powerful allies in his quest to return to Arcanum, it seems. I doubt they would be willing to help Kerghan the Terrible return to exact his revenge. That would appear to be the case. If you were able to facilitate my release from this prison, it would be my pleasure to help you destroy Kerghan. I'm not saying it will be easy to defeat Kerghan. In fact, the attempt might be fatal. Yet, I believe it worth the risk. We cannot let him return to Arcanum. It would mean the end of all life there. I have a few acquaintances on this side that may be interested in helping us as well, should you succeed in releasing me. Then our task should be at least a fraction easier. All we need to do is hurt him enough so that he attempts to regenerate himself, and then you can use the device on him. Of course, this is easier spoken of than accomplished. I'm afraid I do not know. I do not believe Kerghan could maintain this from a distance, so there must be something near here. Many thanks for releasing me from my horribly lengthy incarceration, sir. I am at your service. We could do well to recruit some help. I know some beings in this realm that we might be able to convince to follow us. Perhaps you have heard of them. The Bane of Kree, Gorgoth, and Krakatur. We can only hope. We will have to convince them that Kerghan is a danger to them as well. I don't know. We will need to find a way to navigate amongst the different land masses of the void using the ancient portals.
Greetings. Long have I waited for your arrival, and finally this moment has come. I am Kerghan, first of the necromancers, voyager in the lands of the dead. I would think not. Although the presence of Aranax tells me you already know much of my tale. At least as much as he deemed necessary in order to bring you into his confidence. My life in the world you call Arcanum seems so very distant. The memories clouded like those of a child, and a child I was then, probing the darker magics, given glimpses of the truths yet to come. Yes, look at me, and what do you see? A monster? An abomination? You've no idea what I've discovered. You see with eyes tainted by life, and all which that accursed state embodies. My vision is clear because of those magics you hold in disdain, and the Council. It is they I have to thank for it. In your world, your Arcanum, I was powerful. Perhaps the most powerful human magicka who has ever been. But to humans, cursed with our shortness of life, our brevity, what is this power? What can be learned in that impermanent spark that is our lives? Nothing. But here, in this so-called prison, there are no limits. There is no end. This place, this void, has no time as you know it. I've been here for more than 2,000 of your years, and yet I've aged not at all. I feel as I did the moment they sent me here, or as when the Dark Elves first called to me. Do you now see? Here I can do everything I did in your world. But I am unfettered by the chains of mortality that time hangs upon us. Yes, I know. Ironic, isn't it? It was on my ears that their feeble and pathetic cries had fallen. To me, Kerghan, who had defeated their master and thrown him in chains. Kerghan, who had manipulated them into subverting the Panari and weakening the wards. Kerghan, who used them to send me the dwarves of the Black Mountain clan, who have now finished the bridge back to Arcanum. I truly wish I could. My reasons for returning aren't what you'd think. I have no aspirations for power or domination like your companion Aranax did. Aspirations that I became the victim of. No. Those are the motivations of the living, and I no longer place myself among them. If only I could show you the places I've seen, you might understand the things I say. I've been to the desolate lands, wandered by those souls who still see the lands of the living, but wear the cloak of the dead. Blind to their own ends, they cry, passing through one another like shadows in the dying light of day. I've traveled to where souls rot in torment, pierced with the jagged shards of life and vision, clinging to memory, regrets of the flesh. I saw that this prison was of their own making, and the key was in unknowing, in release. And still, I traveled on. And finally, I came to the place where souls go to die, where the mirrored and worn spirits fall into an endless sea of gray, mirrored glass. And I lowered myself within, and lay there among them, and I almost did not return. And do you know what I found there? There, among the silent and battered shells of the innumerable, peace, enlightenment, truth. Only then did I realize that this place, this life, is an abomination, a horrible distortion of the natural order. This life, who mothered pain and fear and envy, these twisted children who exist only because we are here to feed them, to nourish them. This life, this afterthought, a disturbance, a mere ripple in that great, dead sea, not even the cause, but merely an effect, sending these souls upward, screaming for release from the day they are torn from their waters. The effect of what? I do not know, nor do I care. Have you ever spoken with the dead, called to them from this side, pulled them from their silent rest? Do you know what it is that they feel? Pain. Pain when torn into this wakefulness, this reminder of the chaos from which they had escaped. Pain at having to live. There will be no more pain. There will be no more chaos. I see your soul, traveler. It screams, tattered and spent. Do you feel its pull? Do you hear its wailing? It is within my power to calm these waters, and that is what I shall do.
Hold on a moment. Might I speak with you? What he is saying, it's not completely untrue. I've seen the places he speaks of, felt the peace and serenity of that great dead sea. It's not something I'll ever forget. Of course not. I made my choice a long time ago, and I choose to stand with you. Yes, there is pain in life, pain and loss and sorrow. But there is also joy and the pleasures of growing and learning. You can't have one without the other, and I wouldn't want to sacrifice either. But in the end, I stand with you, whatever your choice.
I can no longer tolerate the atrocities that this thing, this life has brought about. There will be peace. There will be quiet. Life will no longer be. And so I go to Arcanum to be an end to it. And then I will join the souls of the dead when it is done. And why not? I realize that you followed the way of the righteous, or at least that's the role you've decided to play. But you've yet to see the other side. Follow me, and I'll show you things you've never imagined.
Are you daft, man? Are you not listening to what this madman is proposing? He will kill every living being in both realms, including you.
I shall send you to that great dead sea, and then you shall know.